Chickens, too close. Back it up a little bit. It's like they know. Hey, Russ. I've got the phone attached to the edge of this hatchery here, but the chicks are just right up against the mesh, so you can't even see them. It's just a bunch of blurry feather. Oh, there we go. How old are I think about, well, there's one here, the brown one. It's larger than the other ones. It's older by about a week. That's one of our eggs, and then these three little ones here, the two white and this little black one up front, they are eggs that came from Niland. We rescued 3 or 4 chickens, and one of them was sitting on eggs, so I candled them and they were fertilized. So these are little bantam babies, and then the big brown one that's got feathers, that's one of our chickens. Or, you know, a baby from one of our chickens. Oh, they're great. I love the colors. We actually just hatched some chicks for a cause, community cause, if any of you subscribe to him. And we just delivered the last 2 chicks to him today. So that was 4 baby chicks. I put 13 eggs in the incubator for him, but only 4 were fertilized. So that's the thing when you have one rooster with, you know, a group of 6 to 8 hens, he might be choosy. So even though I put 13 eggs in, oh, somebody back there, that one chick has a piece of lamb's quarter, and they'll just chase each other around once somebody has something good. They're fast now, though. Baby everything here. We have a dove that we're rehabilitating too. It fell out of a tree near Solar Mike's, and so we've had that now for about a week or so. It's getting feathers and it's feisty, so I think it's gonna make it. You never know with rescued baby birds. These birds are eating, I make my own chick starter because chick starter is basically a regular laying hen diet, and then they're adding extra calcium and extra protein because these birds have to grow. So I use the chicken crumbles that I feed all the other chickens, which is going to have niacin and all the vitamins and things that they need. And then I just add crushed bird seed, like the regular stuff you'd get from the store. And then I crush up eggshells. We have a ton of eggshells because we have a ton of eggs. So I just grind it up with the corn mill that we have, and I can adjust how fine or coarse I grind things. And there's a bit of corn in there too, actually. You don't want to just feed them on corn. They can live, but they'll be small. So these ones here, I try to vary their diet as much as possible. We breed mealworms, so I gave them their first mealworms last night, and they went crazy. So and now they're starting to get some of the wild plants, and I give them grass, and in a sec maybe I'll grab some sprouted beans, like bean sprouts from the garden. Yeah. Yeah, I've learned a lot about chickens very quickly. A hell of a lot about baby chicks, because I originally had them in this enclosure with a hen, and she was doing a great job, and then there were fleas on on the baby, and so she started pecking at the fleas and the flea eggs to get them off, and she ended up pulling off some of his skin on his throat. The big brown chicken. Come here. Come over this way. Show your neck. He's almost there. This one in front of the camera. Its neck is all bald. Oh, they're fighting over that stick. because the mom was trying to remove fleas and basically removed his throat. So I caught that early enough, pulled the chicken out, and it's all healed up now, but that was a close call. So I took the chicks from the mom, and now have to put them in here with a heat lamp and a red light so they don't peck each other, and it's a lot of work being a mama chicken. These guys are hilarious though. I'll try to get a better, oh, there you go. You guys can just come to me. Oh man, I know that chickens can get mites. Like I've heard of poultry mites but fleas, that's new to me too. And so I've kept finding these, they looked like little termites, and I would find them all over myself. And I'm like, what the hell, where am I getting these termites from? And then this one chicken that we rescued along with these chicks, well, there were eggs, it had fleas all over it, and I didn't realize at first. And so throughout the 3 or 4 days that I didn't know they were fleas, I had spread them to these babies. And so the babies just became loaded with fleas instantly because they're nice, juicy, fresh meat. So I've been using diatomaceous earth. I have another product, Poultry Protector. It's this all natural, all organic, safe. You're not supposed to put it in their eyes, but God forbid if you do, it's safe for that too. So I've been treating the mites, or the fleas, and they seem to be good. I can't see any adult fleas on them, but there are still eggs that haven't hatched. So I'm not sure if the product I'm using will destroy the eggs and they're just gonna kind of fall off. But if they do hatch, I'm prepared to get them. Shit, I'm well informed now. Imagine, you know, it's like for the first few nights with these chicks, they would have froze to death if I didn't warm them and heat them, and I was relying on a hen for that. So suddenly I had to separate her, and now what? So I ran around. I didn't sleep for about 3 days. Overnight I would wake up, I set an alarm for every hour, so I mean I barely slept. Dogs and cats, no. These poultry fleas will jump on other animals, but they actually need like poultry blood to survive. So they'll try to bite you. They might bite a dog, they might bite a cat, but they're gonna be like, oh God, and they're not gonna stay long. They bit me before I realized what they were. But that was difficult. And then I didn't have a red light, and so these chicks started to peck each other's buttholes, because if they see anything red or fleshy, they try to get it. So if you catch a good glimpse of the white one's butts, there's purple stuff on it, and it's another product that I learned about that tastes awful. And so if they peck their butt, they'll be like, oh my God, that's nasty, and they just won't do it again. So it's really good corrective behavior. And now they're friends. Yeah, turkeys, we had the option of getting turkeys, you know, a year or so ago, but they're just so huge, and same with pigs. And we have 2 little chihuahuas, which are little princesses, so we wouldn't want a pig or a turkey to, you know, crush or smash up a chihuahua. So most of our animals are taken out easily by chihuahua if need be. Hey, Deborah. Look at our babies. Mousy is great. She's not, this is her first summer, so she hasn't learned all the tricks that Momo has, but wow, 50% mortality rate, yikes. Like, wait, in their victims or in themselves? But yeah, Mousy's doing good. She's almost as big as Momo. She basically is. She just still looks more dainty. And you know, she's learning the ropes. She still makes mistakes. She's a good. Hey chickens, what are you guys doing? So if any of you watched Coz's live stream earlier, about 20 minutes in, you would see his chicks. Which came from here. He's got one just like the brown one we have running around in here. I think he's got two that are kind of like that. And then one, a little black one, similar to the one we have in here, but it's actually going to be a much bigger chicken than these ones. And then he's got a little leghorn mix too. And that one came from our one chicken we named Pale Cat. It's a video game reference. I'm gonna pull the phone away so you can get a better view because they're getting too close. See? This one's nice and chill. Are you chill? I have this chick waterer here behind her. And that, there's some sand that's stuck to it. That's full of water. I fill it up multiple times a day to make sure it's nice and full. But this dish here, I'll put water in as well. And the chickens, if you get them wet, they actually can't cool themselves as easily. So you don't want to soak the birds, but what they want to do is put these naked feet in the water, and then the rest of their body cools via their feet. So if you give them a shallow dish like this one back here, he'll do that. And midday when it's really hot, it was about 103 today, they were all standing in that thing. And hi, you cleaning your face? Yeah, you can tell by their body language how uncomfortable they are. And so when it's hot, over 100 degrees, all the adult birds are misted. I have an automated misting system I've done. But this area here does not have misters, so I do it by hand. Hey, here's his neck. You can see the potentially the scarring on his neck. This chicken had the equivalent of his throat being slit, and he acted like it didn't even hurt. Like, I don't know of any particular breeds for hotter weather. I would assume that there are. If you look at, I would imagine Middle Eastern breeds. Like, look at what kind of chickens they have over there. Same with Mexico. What are you doing? Some pecking's okay, but you gotta watch that they don't peck each other too much. You put purple on their butts. Yeah, the misters actually, I was gonna show them off, but I think it's not hot enough anymore. They only go when it's 100 degrees or more. And I bet you we've just dipped beneath 100. But my next live stream I'll do during the day, and I can show you the misters when they go off. It's all handmade essentially out of parts from the hardware store, and then an Arduino, which I've written the code on. So I've written all the software that mists the birds and keeps them alive, and it adjusts how much water is sprayed based on how hot it is. This pen I cannot take credit for. This pen has been a godsend and a burden. You can see it's big. I've actually halved it up here, and they only get this half. And that side there is empty right now. And then I made a little ramp, and then I chicken wired in the underside of it, and there's a bush here and a bunch of grasses starting to grow. So once they're older, I'm gonna take down the barrier so they can have this whole upper part, and then give them a little bit more time, and then I'm gonna open up those zip ties there, and then they'll be able to come down the ramp and hang out under here. That's what they used to do with their mom. But I don't want to give them access to down here now, because come nighttime, they're not going to leave. So I'm going to have to either climb under there and scoop them all up and lock them into this little house that I have up here, or just let them sleep down there. And mice and rats, I haven't confirmed it, but I think that they will indeed take out a baby chick if given the opportunity. And the rats here are pretty huge, so yeah, predators like, well, the rats, the mice, there's coyotes, kit fox, numerous snakes, hawks, owls. So there's a lot of predators out here. Ones that could get at these chicks, basically nothing, aside from the mice. But the mice have so many food options here, they're not gonna go for these guys. But yeah, there's an LED grow light up there which has red and blue LEDs. So all I did was tape over the blue ones, and so now it's their red light. And the red light just makes it so that they don't peck each other, because if they see blood or what they think is blood, they'll just start pecking, and when I Googled it, I was like chickens pecking each other, and instead it just gave me how to combat a cannibalism outbreak. So apparently a common issue with chickens is cannibalism. So that's why there's a red light. They sleep all night. I can show you. So inside this thing here, there's a bee hut, like a bee box, and I've built on another top on that, and there's a vent there, and you can see there's two little doors. So at nighttime, they all go inside here, and I close this little door so they can't get out. And again, that's to protect them from, oh, there's one, mice and rats. So this is too small for the mice to get through, and they're not going to open this door. Hey, chicken. This one's really friendly. He likes pets. And then inside this box here, I have another lid. There is, oh shit, chicken. He just escaped. He just learned how to do that this morning. Hey, now that you know how to fly. I was worried he was gonna do that. All right, well, I'm gonna put him back. But yeah, inside that box, there's a red light, and it's an incandescent bulb, not LED. LEDs don't give off much heat, but an incandescent bulb will give off a whole bunch. So that is only the, I want to say, third time a chicken has escaped at RabbitSide. Yeah, you gotta be fast and gentle. Like, you gotta catch these things so quickly, but also don't squeeze them. So good luck. We have a duck that will escape every once in a while to get her mouth on some good grass. And then she just hangs out and waits for me to find her and then pick her up and put her back. And then we had a young rooster escape, kind of accidentally, and he immediately regretted it, and I chased him around the structure for 10 minutes until he was tired and threw a shirt over him on a bookcase and brought him back. But otherwise, they stay pretty well contained. They're not too worried about escaping because, you know, they're given everything they need. They're not usually looking to find more. You think these guys are cute. The ducklings are massive and very cute. There's a lot of flies in here, but hi duckies. And that's the mommy. She's panting a little bit because it was pretty hot today. Usually panting is a sign that they're too hot, but that one there, Oleana, her nostrils are kind of small. She was stunted at birth, and then one of them right now is clogged, so she kind of has to be a mouth breather, and so because of that, she's panting heavier than the other ducks are. This one's got water. Oh my god, these things are huge. They weigh so much, and when you pick them up, they're squishy, and so they just slide right out of your hand. I'm gonna get them some feed, actually, so let's go this way. Here's chickens. Chickens. It's Thanksgiving. She's blurry. Okay. You can watch my feet. This is the mill. I got dog food, chicken food, all food. The corn mill is here. Twist that, and the corn pieces fall down on a little thing into the darkness, and there's a bucket down there. So I grind up corn and whatever else. What was I getting? Duck food. The ducks just eat the laying crumbles that you would give laying hens. The laying crumbles have everything they need, and it specifically has niacin, and that's what will stunt their legs and everything at birth. Well, that mill, I have tried my hardest to mouse and rat proof. All right, there you go. Yum yum. The rats can no longer get at the chicken feed, but mice are tiny and they're still able to get in. I have no idea. I just keep chasing them around and trying to see where they exit. But no, they haven't chewed through any of the bins quite yet, and I just keep on working towards mouse-proofing it. And you can't set traps because the trap relies on bait. And what mouse is going to go for the tiny bit of peanut butter I smeared on a trap when there's like 19 buckets of gourmet food? So a trap is only useful when there's no other sources. Hey duckies. This little barrier here closes off the other half of this pen. We had a cat. His name was Grable. We did some videos that mentioned Grable, and then one day Grable just didn't come home. It was during the day, which is interesting. There's El Pato. That's their dad. He walked away. So yeah, we're on the market for another cat one day, but yeah, the mice. It's the rats that really get me. Like, mice are not too bad, but yeah, Grable's, that really sucked. It still sucks. You know, it's such a sweet cat. I honestly think he disappeared kind of midday, and he was going further and further and further. And so I think honestly somebody scooped him up. He didn't have a collar. He's friendly as hell, and he probably walked right into someone's car. And they were like, oh no, I need to save this cat, and took him off to Palm Springs or something. So, I mean, or dog, or owl, or there's a lot of bad things that could have happened, but we don't know. Hey duckies. But yeah, there's 3 more ducks over there. These little pudgy guys. If you'll notice, I'm sure that 3 of them are yellow, and 3 of them are kind of black and yellow, and yet they're all from the same parents. So they're from this white duck that just went hiding under there, and then the guy back here that looks like a mallard. He's got the green head and blue and the ring on his neck. So I'm pretty sure that the 3 little yellow duckies, they are gonna look kind of like Oleana, the mom, so they'll be kind of white. And then I think the other 3 with the black are more rowan dominant. That's the species of the other duck there. I've seen pictures of a hybrid between them, and man, they have a potential to be some beautiful ducks, and they're huge. So 7 weeks you have a 10-pound bird if you're doing it for meat. Yeah, duck eggs apparently are good for baking. They do have a different taste, like a richness to them. We'll mix them in with chicken eggs and do French toast or things like that. Yeah, you cozy now? Quit picking their faces. He's not hurting them, but it's like he's going for pieces of food or something. You gotta watch stuff like that and make sure it doesn't become a habit. That brown one back there, when they hatch, they have different patterns, and the pattern that this one exhibited, it tells you the genome, and the genome is the wild type. So this bird here, its genes are more genetically closer to what a wild chicken would be. And the rooster is a gamecock, so it's like a game bird. And so I feel that this chicken here, given the wild type genome, you cleaning them? Is gonna be more gamecock, or game bird anyways. Hopefully you're a girl. What are you doing? Doesn't seem bothered by it. Yeah, there's a shot of his neck. You can see missing feathers. I think I will be, in one way or another, traumatized for the rest of my life when I found this chicken injured there on his neck. It was grotesque. Like, I don't have a weak stomach with things like that, but it was just, it was terrifying. And he was just like do walking around like nothing at all happened. And I could see his esophagus from the outside, which means one more peck. If I had come 5 minutes later, I feel like I would have found him dead. So Oh man, that was rough. That really was a wake-up call, and that's why I've changed everything here, and I have more control with them by having them in this safe space. And I can get them to a big enough age where now they can fend for themselves, and they got feathers, and then they'll be okay. This is hunting for bugs, so that should be fun. One will catch a fly, and then the other three will just chase it. You catch a bug? But yeah, farming, you know, raising animals to any degree, exactly, it's not for the faint of heart. But you know, you have to care for animals a whole bunch to do it well. You know what I mean? Like if you don't care, you're not going to wake up every 2 hours in the night to make sure that this little guy is warm enough. You know, you would just, well, hatch another egg. Should have been strong enough, you know, but so it's a benefit to care that much, but then it's also kind of a drawback when something bad happens. And that's just it. That's why animals have 10 babies, you know, 5, 6, 10 babies. It's because they don't all make it. But, you know, that's the beauty of being a human. We have the ability to alter these things sometimes. And so I think because of that human ability, we have one more chicken now. Please don't be a rooster. Yeah. There you go. Have a little nap. You pulling on my thing? Which one, Deb? The lighter colored one or the little dark one? This little face pecker. Hey, stop it. Be nice. Yeah, it's sweet. It's such an affectionate bird. If you put your hand in there, it'll just sit underneath your hand and you can just kind of hug it. I don't trust opening this thing right now. It'll fly away again. Oh, yeah, they're starting to think about going inside their little hot box. Yeah, the flies. See, like Slab City gets plagued with flies all summer long, and it's kind of just something you deal with. But we have a big compost kind of set back from our camp, and it attracts so many flies that they don't really bother with us in here too much, even around the chickens. But this time of year is when the flies increase, and the predators that eat the flies haven't increased yet. So it's kind of like the same with the aphids. The aphids show up and they get about a 3-week head start, and then there's ladybugs that eat them. And so like the flies show up, breed, go everywhere, and then eventually the predators that eat the flies start to ramp up. So there's lizards all over the place. And then our favorite fly predator, I've been seeing them today back here, but I don't know. It was on the ground here. Damselflies, which they look just like dragonflies, often smaller. And the difference is dragonflies, when they land, their wings are straight out. And a damselfly, when they land, their wings are back. So that's how you tell the difference. So we have damselflies, and they are predatory insects that'll catch the flies in the air. And they use motion camouflage to do so. That's a cool thing to look up. And yeah, so now the damselflies have shown up, and because we have a pond, the damselflies have started to breed in there, and then they'll lay eggs inside, and then they hatch and become nymphs, and then those crawl out of the water onto a stick, and then hatch out of that chrysalis or whatever the hell it is, and become damselflies. And then there'll be like 30 of them in this place, all with territories, and they'll fight each other and they'll eat flies. And then the rest of the summer we're good. Well, thank you. Yeah, if you can't tell, I like to learn stuff. And this whole place has just been an opportunity to learn stuff, you know, because we have to do a lot to survive. And so I'm constantly trying to think of ways to make that better. And it's just a good mental playground, really, to learn things. And we're not preppers or by any means, but I mean, we kind of, you know, without knowing, prepared ourselves kind of pretty well for this coronavirus thing. So that's why we have these chicks here, because grocery stores were running out of stuff, you know, a month ago or whatever. And so we thought, well, let's incubate some eggs, up our chicken game a little bit, and that way, you know, a month or two down the line, if things get worse or whatever, hey, don't bite her butt. Although they do help clean poop off that way, so. Watch me. I spend a lot of time looking at chicken butts. How's your butts? Just piling on top of each other. Let's see if the duckies came back out again. Duckies. No, they're in their little hidey hole. At nighttime, I also block that thing off. I guess I can remove the blanket now, but yeah, I block that thing off and put the mom and all the babies in there so that the babies aren't like sleeping in this corner by themselves or something at night. Again, because of rats. I worry that a rat might be opportunistic and do their best to take out a little baby duck. And yeah, the heat's fine. You know, it sucks, but 100 degrees I do not consider hot anymore. 105, I try not to really bitch about it. 110 is my cutoff where I can't fake it anymore, and it's like, okay, I mean, I do feel this, you know. And then kind of from 110 up, you feel every degree. Thanks, Russ. Yeah, man, you were there from the beginning, so I appreciate it. You know, live streams. We're new to it, but I just figured it's easier than making videos right now, and it gets some content out there for you. What greens did I give them? I believe it was lamb's quarter, which is a weed that grows out here. I think I have some, yeah, right there. It grows all over America, and it's, oops, my phone is yelling at me. It's got these little seeds and kind of flowers on it. The heat here is very dry. During the day, we'll get like 9% humidity, but then other days it'll be 40 or 50%. So it is possible to get humidity, but for the most part, it is just dry as a bone, which is why evaporative coolers work, which just relies on, you know, moistening the air and then allowing that moisture to evaporate, and it cools down. But that only works in places that are hot enough and dry enough. Yeah, you guys like that stuff. There's all tiny seeds in there, so they're able to just kind of kick at it and eat the seeds. And the seeds are fresh, they haven't dried yet, so they should be easier for babies to digest. I don't think they're strong enough to crack dried seeds. That's why I mill everything for them, just to make sure it goes in there easily. I think 6 weeks they'll be fully feathered birds. But they'll still be small at that point. So I would assume that it's going to take even longer than that, which is why this thing, you know, is larger and then has the lower section. So 4 chickens inside of this, they'll be able to live in this thing for a little bit. As for the use of them, again, it was because of the, you know, coronavirus food shortage thing, and here we are sitting on a farm, and we're like, I mean, we'd be idiots if we ran out of food. You know, like we have all the things necessary to make food. This is where food comes from, the stuff that we have. So we started incubating eggs, and it was basically, if the time comes and these birds are adults and we need to fill that freezer, they're food. If the time comes and they're adults and we do not need to feed that freezer and we can just go to Walmart and buy food and the world hasn't ended, then they stay. I don't know about boys. You know, if there's roosters up in here, we have 3 roosters. We cannot keep housing roosters. And because we rescue chickens and ducks and lots of stuff, we don't eat anything we've rescued. I feel like that's not a very good way to rescue something. You know, I'll save you, and then maybe, you know, later when I get bored, I'll eat you. So we don't do that. But these chicks here were raised from eggs, so they were not rescued. They were brought into this world as livestock, but that could just mean egg producers. The food. We figure we should up our game a little bit. We've grown. Okay. Apparently there's no Wi-Fi in the garden. But maybe safely from back here you can see all that was just sand and a little tufts of grass maybe about 2 months ago. And then I've built those garden beds there, and that's a small compost in the center. Using the same method we've done all our gardens, which is mostly just with beans and lentils, dried pinto beans and dried lentils. The food bank gives you tons of them, and they're disgusting. You can't cook them; they just stay hard. But if you throw them in the garden, that little patch right there, that's mostly beans, just pinto beans sprouted, and then very good to eat. The chickens like it, the ducks like it, the tortoises like it. If anybody is interested in keeping chickens, these 2 products right there, that saved everything. Stops them from picking each other's butts and gets rid of fleas. Without those 2 things, these chicks wouldn't be as happy and healthy as they are. So shout out to those guys. Luckily we have a Tractor Supply not too far. It's in El Centro, so we can get all those kind of things. Yeah, you know, I got a little while until the sun goes down, and so this is the time where I can actually run around outside and do stuff without burning up. So I think I'm going to add some shade over our front garden, because it is not shaded right now. I take that off in the winter to really let everything grow. So now I got to cover it back up so it doesn't fry in the summer. Yeah, maybe I'll do another stream and show that off once it's all done. It's mostly just sheets and shade cloth I'm kind of attaching onto a network of sticks. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's going to be effective. What do you think, chickens? And yeah, we'll eat the bean sprouts sometimes, but I mean, they're not that great. I mostly grow them as fodder for the animals, and then they're like the catalyst for the rest of the garden. They are nitrogen fixers. They pull good shit out of the air and they put it into the dirt, and they basically tell everything else in the dirt, hey, it's popping off here, you might want to start doing some growing. And then everywhere I add beans and lentils, everything else does better. It's green, it's living mulch, it's fertilizer. Yeah, half of them don't even sprout, they just turn into moldy beans inside of the soil. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this and go shade some garden. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, chickens, for being so good. All right, y'all have a good night. Chickens out.